My name's Taylor Mistickokat. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Meadow Lake. I moved to Saskatoon 3 years ago, but just recently I moved to Saskatoon 3 years ago for school. But I just recently changed my career path and I'm now doing industrial mechanics. But that was not the only change I have experienced this year. I found a brand new meaning of life and started building a relationship with God. If someone was to tell me a year ago the transformation I have went through, I probably would have told you you're off your rocker. I was born into a non-religious family, and I had really no knowledge of God at all. The extent of my knowledge was the phrase, the man upstairs. The first time I ever talked to God was when I was 16 years old. My grandma was unexpectedly diagnosed with cancer, and within 6 months passed away. It was my first experience with death, and I couldn't fathom how someone I was with every day was just gone. Someone told me it was God's timing. So this guy I never met before took my best friend when I needed her most. Let's just say the conversation I had with him wasn't a good one. I was very angry, and shortly after, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. My depression caused me to stop caring about everything in my life. I felt numb, and every chance I got, I would sleep, because it was the only way I got a break from my mind. I stopped making plans for the future because I kept telling myself I was not going to be alive in a couple of years. When I graduated high school in 2020 and applied for university, I had no intention of actually doing that career. I was going because it was expected. I had no passions or goals, and during the next 2 years, I turned to unhealthy ways of coping. I used outside factors for temporary happiness and validation. End of 2021 and beginning of 2022 was the lowest I have ever felt and acted. I was not a kind person, and I didn't like who I became. Later in August of 2022, I finally felt the pull to change. I found a new passion and last minute changed schools. To my surprise, 3 days before class started, I found out I got in. It was the first time in years that I felt excited about something. Over this time, I also experienced a new curiosity about God and Jesus. I started listening to sermons online, and it all started to make sense. It felt like I was slowly putting the pieces together on what life was. The way I felt and the way I treated other people completely changed. This December, I was driving down a highway listening to a sermon about the ways the Holy Spirit communicates with us and how to discern his voice. They started talking about a gut feeling, and this is how the Holy Spirit leads us in a certain way. This was my aha moment. Everything made sense. All the changes in my life and all the changes in my demeanor was because I started listening. I remember taking it all in and looking at everything around me just because God was there and realizing he always has been. Since then, I have been solid in my faith because I know, even if I don't realize it, he is there. The loneliness I felt after the loss of my grandma was now gone because I am not alone. I am now on the journey of life with Jesus, and no matter what happens, I will always have that relationship. I had a new excitement for life, and the moment I got back to Saskatoon, I wrote everything down, and I also bought my first Bible. I had no idea there were different versions, and I ended up buying a huge King James version. The book was impractical to take anywhere, never mind trying to make sense of it. I remember looking at it and just thinking, oh boy, this Christian thing is going to be harder than I thought. Not to panic, I have a different one now, and I can read it. So, January 2023, I finally had the courage to come to church, and I had full intention of trying out different churches and to see what felt right. This one was the first one I came to, just because it's the closest to my house. Obviously, I did not make it to any other churches. When I walked in, it just felt so right, and I felt so welcome. I filled out one of the little cards in the back of the seat, and I just kept coming. My favorite verse is 1 John 4:12. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. Every day I feel God communicating with me and showing me how amazing he is through the people around me. Simple conversations we might not think twice about can change the life of someone else. The way we carry ourselves and the words we speak may be ways someone else feels God's love. This church has been a huge blessing in my life, and all the people I have met have made such an impact. To have people to talk about our faith with and to see how Jesus is working in our lives is amazing, and it is a constant reminder of how great he is. I am so excited to get baptized here with everyone and make this public confession of my faith. I kind of just see it as giving credit where credit is due, because I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without Jesus. So.
Good morning. My name is Chandra Stiles, and I serve here as the youth and young adults pastor. And I've had the privilege of getting to know Taylor over these last few months as she's become a vibrant member of our young adults community and our church. And Taylor, this morning, just as we listen to your story and as I reflect on the last couple of months of just conversations with you, I just see so much hunger for the new life that Jesus can bring. The tenacity that you have chased after God with all on your own is just so beautiful, and I just see you longing for more of the kingdom in your life and the lives of those around you, and you want to see hope and healing and forgiveness and freedom in your life and given to others around you. And it's just so beautiful the way that you've responded in obedience and openness to just stepping out and joining a community that's so brand new to you, and yet one that not only is impacting you, but now you are impacting us. And that's such a beautiful thing. So because of the testimony that you shared with us of your love of Jesus, I baptize you this morning in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit.